Hey guys, Jay-Sensei again. This is going to be what if Luffy had the DNA of strong pirates, or had DNA of strong pirates. Should have put the in there somewhere, but it would make the title too long. Longer than it already is, at least. So yeah, so this what if is going to be kind of complicated, and the game's going to be kind of long, because I'm going to go over all of Luffy's abilities, from martial arts, all the way to his just basic abilities in Yonko powers. I already have a small comment on one of my community posts about Luffy's not small, but his powers for Yonko. Now, I can guarantee it's going to be at least 9 minutes in total, because I tried recording it, and it's been 9 minutes each time. Which at one point was 20 minutes, but that's why I kept rambling like I am now. But, yeah, so basically just, long story short, for Luffy, basically, the world government kind of had an experiment before Roger was in charge of the world, basically, like King of Pirates. They had it since, like, Rocksteady was at its peak. They were collecting DNA from strong pirates, trying to, basically, strong people, basically, try to put it into one cell. But something wasn't clicking. Many of the pirates that were really strong had conquerors, while very few Marines had it. The ones that we know of probably being only Sengoku and Garp. That's really it. Probably Sengoku and Garp, but that's really it. Well, other Marines would be hard to come across. So, yeah. So they kind of stuck to pirate DNA only, as they were some of the strongest of the strong. Eventually, over time, they kept doing it to the point where the DNA they were infusing it into grew into its own little host. That would include Kaido, Big Mom, Shanks, Roger, Joy Boy, Rocks, Whitebeard, Marco, Bullet, Dofi, Mihawk, Shiki, Moria, King, Queen, Kuma, Jinbei. Now, for some of these people, like, you wouldn't inherit, like, the actual physical prowess of them. You'd less inherit something more spiritual or tied to something else. For example, Devil Fruit abilities. But yeah, I'm going to go over Luffy's martial arts first, because those would be a little more complicated to explain. First martial art up is Krav Maga, because Luffy would learn these once he's, like, kind of out of being a test tube child. But I'll go over how he's freed later. Krav Maga is the first martial art Luffy would learn. He would learn Krav Maga, basically avoid, prevent, resolve, and protect. That's the whole base of Krav Maga. Basically avoid attacks, prevent attacks, resolve attacks, and protect yourself from attacks and others around you. Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, grappling. That's mainly what it is, like grappling and holds or locks. Karate, self-defense, elbows, kicks, throws, that stuff, basic karate stuff. Also, punching is a given. Taekwondo, the basis of it is speed and kicks. Punching is also central in some form of Taekwondo, I'm sure. Kung Fu, one of the only basics I found of it, or one of the needs for it, is lightning fast. That's one of the basics only basic I found. So that's Kung Fu. Then Sambo. Many martial arts are involved in it, along with weapons. Weapons also counts as martial arts. Muay Thai, elbows and knees, the hardest parts of your body, or hardest joints in your body. Like Muay Thai means focus on the hardest parts of your body, doing the most damage. Then Silat, which is mainly just striking at joints, using weapons to hit at joints, is whatever will weaken your opponent the most, like exploiting their weaknesses. And the best description of it is pure violence, so to say. I'm reading this off of notes I have. Kali, or Kali. Sticks, knives, blades, knife hand / chopping. That's the basics of what Kali would involve. Bakom, hidden weapons, extreme force with punches, jujitsu, and street fighting. Rough and tumble. Never use this unless you want to kill someone. Gouging and disfiguring. That's the basis of rough and tumble. Like gouging at someone's eyes, biting them as hard as possible, like disfiguring them as worse as you can. This whole basis of it. Like inflict the most brutal, gruesome, and worst kind of damage possible. Then Ninpo. This is what Luffy would mainly use if he doesn't want to fight a lot. Espionage, information collecting, sneaking, camouflage, avoiding people, infiltrating, navigation, survival, weapons, hand-to-hand combat. Well, the last two are something that he kind of just does if he has to, but the rest of it he uses a lot. Then line. This is a military martial art that you use when you're on your last legs. Like I'm pretty sure one of the things that says you have to be like not be able to see properly. Like it's just drilled into your head. So it has to be effective at all times, usable at all times, proper usage is against everyone, and directly, which means kill them. Yep. Now judo, throwing in just excessive force. Wrestling, grappling, throwing, takedowns, joint locks. Not like WWE, but like high school wrestling, like in those I'm gonna be honest, the suits are dumb as hell. I don't care. You kidding me? They look dumb as hell. Then Casey, that is act and react while defending. Those are the martial arts that Luffy knows. Shocking. I'm at 5 minutes. Now his Yonko abilities, or his pirate abilities. No, from DNA got from Kaido. Kaido's been captured many times, and they've had samples of his devil fruit. Like Momo has a sample of his Kaido's devil fruit. So Luffy did go and try to create a soldier as well that wouldn't need a devil fruit. Well, like they would use devil fruit, but still have the ability to swim, which is what Luffy has. And he's the only one that lived through it, like the only one in history. But yeah, so durability and cloud creation. That's what Luffy got from Kaido. Well, not like cloud. He kind of create his own clouds, but also manipulate them to some extent. And then Big Mom, he can kind of use electricity to his own extent. Like basically, he can coat his body in electricity, kind of like the Raikage's lightning cloak. He can do that, and then send it out at least 5 meters, and it can paralyze opponents. Then Shanks, what he got from Shanks is basically just hockey and a better, his body is more defined, basically. He would grow in strength really fast. This is what Luffy gets from people without devil fruits or special abilities besides Conquerors. So, yeah. And Roger, hockey and voice of all things. Then Joy Boy, well, Luffy already had voice of all things, but Roger's voice of all things basically enhanced Luffy's usage of it. Because of Joy Boy. Knowledge. Luffy would just get that big brain. He'd get some stuff from Joy Boy really fast. Then rocks. What I wrote for it was power. But yeah, so he kind of just gets a jack of all trades. If rocks had a devil fruit, Luffy gets some ability of it, but we don't know nothing about rock so far, so assume he doesn't have one. I'd prefer if he doesn't have one, because it took 2 undevil fruited badasses to defeat him. So yeah. Now, we got from rock basically just body, hockey, anything. Then Whitebeard. He has the ability to create vibrations. His wife will love him. Marco, he's able to regenerate. He doesn't regenerate as fast as Marco, but still regenerates. Then Bullet, he's been in prison before, and probably still is by the time we start this. Strength, basically, he's got pure physical strength. That's all he got from Bullet, just strength and speed, as we saw. Bullet's one fast guy. Gear second, Luffy didn't stand a chance. That's what we saw. We should Luffy now can easily whoop Bullet like it's nothing. I can guarantee you, Bullet would go for a full hockey punch against Roger, and Roger just re-rolls his fingertips and just flicks him. Boom. But yeah. Then Doflamingo, Luffy just basically got better Conqueror's hockey, and he will be able to use it faster and easier. And then we go over to our boy Mihawk. Luffy just gets better observation hockey, and he's gonna get an actual affinity for swords from Mihawk. And then from Shiki, he got the ability to glide, not fly or float, but kind of gliding, that's really it. How Batman just glides down with his bat suit? That's what Luffy does. But he can also kind of hover a bit, but can't hover for long. Can't glide for long either. But in Moria, Luffy can kind of read what you're going to do next. Luffy can kind of read what you're going to do next if he actually gets able to get some part of his body in your shadow. It has to be with the full limb, not on the tip of his pinky or the tip of his finger. No, you have to get his full hand in the shadow at least to read what you're going to do next. Your next thought, the next sight you see. Everything you're going to do next for the next 5 seconds at least. That's what Luffy's going to get. If you don't do anything for the next 5 seconds, Luffy's going to be able to see something up until you do. So you can't move for 100 years. I'll say that. Luffy can touch your shadow and know what you're going to do the next time you're going to move. I mean, never, but if you're just never going to move again because you're dead or just going to meditate forever, Luffy just gets kicked. He does not be able to see a thing. He can see your thoughts for the next hundreds of years, but that's really it. Just your thoughts. 9 minutes. And then King, Luffy's able to conjure flames. He has the Lunarian DNA, so summoning flames, that's one of the things he can do. And then Queen, Luffy just gets better intelligence like he got from Joy Boy. He can get strength and intelligence from everyone here. Everyone here is insanely smart. Maybe not Kaido, but I assume he would be. But yeah. And then we have Kuma. Now, Luffy didn't really get direct DNA from Kuma. What Luffy really got was some really devil fruit where Luffy can just kind of shoot out a shockwave. Not some Goku level shockwaves, but a shockwave that's able to push people back. You remember how All Might would do the Nomu punch and just the sheer, his Nomu sheer smash. I was talking about something else. His New Hampshire Smash, where he does that, shoots himself farther back so he can avoid attacks. It's like his New Hampshire Smash. Like that kind of shockwave where he shoots people back or shoots himself back. Luffy does that kind of stuff. Like he can just make a shockwave that shoots himself back, but also pushes people away. So it works both ways. And then Jinbei. Luffy will also get a better affinity for martial arts. Now, when we go back to like what I said about Kuma, how I said Luffy doesn't get a full thing for Devil Fruit, Luffy would also be able to do something similar to where he can not similar. Vegapunk took inspiration from Kuma and she added on some metal parts to Luffy's body. But what I mean is that he replaced a lot of Luffy's bones with steel. The important bones he covered for Luffy would be basically his fists, like basically his joints, his skull, his fingertip, also basically his fingers, his skull, his spine, and his feet. Not his legs, just his feet. So joints, fingers, skull, spine. That's metal mixed with sea stone. The rest of his bones are just pure steel. So yeah. They're able to do surgery on Luffy pretty easily because he's not really awake a whole bunch. When he's awake is when they summon him to wake up. So yeah. Now, in this one, Luffy's also going to be older because, like I'm pretty sure this before, he was born around the time of Rocks being at his peak. But he's a test tube, and he didn't grow a full body up until the point of Robin's birth. Like he didn't grow into grow into a fetus until until Robin was born. It takes decades for Luffy to grow. But Luffy's actually able to develop a lot faster by the time he is a fetus. So Luffy kind of goes through multiple ages. And he's able to become a normal-sized baby by the time... Well, not most be able to become a full-sized baby in a matter of months, actually. So, decent. So, yeah, actually, no, years, actually. He's a full-sized baby after years. Now, Dragon, let's say he was in the Marines and he heard of the experiment, didn't like it, freed Luffy. When he freed Luffy and exposed him to the outside world, and Luffy's body was actually able to grow normally. It was already started growing normally, but a little excessive. So that made Luffy's birthday a little bit closer to Sabo's because he grew so fast. But this one, he's still the same age that he's in Sung Jin Woo. What if he'd be 25? So 25 post time skip. You should know he'd be like over 40, but because he wasn't a full born up until yeah, you get what I'm saying. But yeah, so Luffy isn't decently aged up until a few years after he was made. Luffy has no mother or father. It was just he was born this way, or created this way. Eventually, Luffy kind of learns martial arts strictly from Dragon, and Luffy does get some knowledge of martial arts from Jinbei. That's how he learned so Fishman Karate. He does know that. Then Fishman Jiu-Jitsu, he has that, and then he kind of get some instilled knowledge from Marines that were from Vegapunk. They kind of instill some information in him that were just on basic martial arts. Then Dragon would teach Luffy other martial arts up until the point of him being 6. When he's 6, Dragon would hand over Luffy to Garp, as Garp would actually report to the Marines that he found Luffy, but make up a lie saying that actually Luffy lost all his memories. The only thing he has is the really hard bones. That's it. And they don't know about the powers. Only Garp and Dragon do. So, yeah. So the Marines kind of figure Luffy useless, on the only contrary that he has Sea Stone for bones. We'll kind of see some in steel, but still, really strong bones. That's really it. So the only thing that could turn out is Luffy being an enemy and being invulnerable to bullets. Or immune to bullets. So yeah, now we go back to, we'll go forward in Luffy's life. We go to when you meet Shanks. Luffy meets Shanks. Luffy would, just pretty easily get along with Shanks, because Luffy's able to blend into everyone's personality by default. His personality is also very similar to Roger and everyone else that he has. Every person that he has, his personality is very similar, except with Kaido, Big Mom, Rocks, Bullet. The evil pirates, he's not similar to them at all. But the more gentle-hearted ones, he's very similar to them. I'm gonna check on my brother. So, like I said before, Luffy's a little more lighthearted and very similar to people that Shanks knew closely, or that Shanks has met in general, like Whitebeard, Roger, other people. So yeah. Now with this, Shanks and Luffy get along extremely well, and Luffy does not eat a devil fruit because common sense. Now when Higuma does try to actually but we need to try to disrupt the bar, Luffy kind of has it when Higuma tries to slash out on the table. When Higuma tries to do that, Luffy's first response It doesn't go well for Higuma. As soon as Higuma would bring his sword down, he realized that something stopped his blade in its tracks. And he saw a single finger on his blade. And the sight he saw... That's my brother face here screaming in the background. I won't let him in my room while I'm recording it. He's getting mad at me for it. But yeah, so Higuma had seen that a single finger stopped his blade. And everyone's looking at Luffy, as Higuma would then see that the little kid had stopped his blow with a single finger. And the extra disrespect on top, it was his pinky. So with this, Luffy's able to push off to kind of push away the blade, saying, too weak, but no damaging the bar property. And I will have to charge you for the bottle that you broke. Higuma thinks Luffy's taking him for a fool and goes to punch Luffy in the face. The punch lands, and Higuma broke almost all his fingers. The fingers that are broken would be basically his index, middle, ring, and that's really it. Like those 3 fingers are broken. Higuma punched at a weird angle, so hit Luffy's jaw. His pinky didn't make too much connection, and none of his thumb. So those 3 fingers were like the main connect. So yeah. Now with this, Higuma began backing off in fear as his fingers were broken in pretty weird directions. Eventually, Luffy would just jump at Higuma, and as he lands behind Higuma, he'd grab like the collar of his shirt from behind, and send Higuma right on his head, knocking him out. Luffy looks at the rest of the bandits, saying, "If we're in a fight, take it outside." They walk outside, some pulling out their guns. Luffy drags Higuma behind him, and drops Higuma in front of the bar. Now the fight starts with guns are being fired, and Luffy is able to avoid the bullets, but barely. They're grazing his skin, but Luffy quickly realizes they're not making him bleed. They're scraping him. They get him no notification. So the march on the bullets don't really make a indent or anything. They just scrape his cheek. Now, like just drops of blood come out if like the graze is deeper, but so far the normal grazes only scrape his skin. Or the near bullets only scrape his skin. But eventually he's able to take down every single bandit, not even using any martial art, just punch to the nose, punch to the chest, punch to the groin. That's his strategy. And he does pretty damn well at it. So yeah. And now we go to basically when we're gonna go like fast forward a few days. After a few days, is Shanks and his crew were about to leave. Higima's bandits actually tried to fight Luffy again, but Shanks' crew actually intervened, and the crew killed Higuma. The bandits innocently tried to just attack Lucky Roo only, and yeah, some backmen handled it with their own gunfire. The crew was wiped out. Pause real quick. So Luffy is actually able to overwhelm Higuma no matter what, but the crew, the Red-Haired Pirates did it better. So yeah, eventually when Shanks' crew leaves, they take Gomu no Mi with them, and Luffy actually kind of having some thoughts that would be influenced by Joy Boy's spirit, so to say, as Luffy mainly is a spirit of Joy Boy and Roger. Those are the 2 spirits that would inhabit his mind specifically. And one of the main thoughts he'd get from Joy Boy's spirit would basically be, bury the devil fruit as deep as possible. He says that, Shanks actually finds the logic in it, saying, alright then, how deep do you think it should be? Because he wants to question Luffy again. He wants to. Just see what Luffy would say. As Luffy is thinking harder, he then says, it may take days, but try thousands of feet. Tens of thousands of feet if need be. It'll make it harder for anyone to try to find the devil fruit, and unreasonable for anyone to dig that deep. So Shanks agrees to this, and Luffy would say, even burying it inside of a cliff underwater, that also helped. Shanks would agree to that as well, and they leave. Shanks not losing an arm, and Shanks kind of being questioning why Luffy knew what to do. Now at this, by the way, Luffy also already knew about what to do. Like he already knows, not what to do. He already knows Ace and Sabo, and he knows what's going to happen when Garp comes back. So a few months pass, and Luffy just spent that time still guarding Makino's bar, and with Luffy kind of guarding Fuchsia Village and also intimidating some traders to actually give more money, Fuchsia Village kind of thrives a bit more. So it's a bit of a bigger village with more people. So yeah. Now Garp returns. When he returns, he meets Luffy to Ace and Sabo. He brings Luffy to a bandit hideout, saying, you used to live with them now. And Luffy does still get the straw hat, and he does tell Garp he's not scared of Garp one bit. Well, actually, no, he is. He's scared of Garp using hockey. He doesn't know what it is, but he knows it hurts. all he tells Garp is that a pirate gave it to him, and Garp can tell which pirate. Just Luffy won't say his name, just so he doesn't get him in trouble. Garp pretends not to know. But still on, Luffy just lives with Ace and Sabo now, and we're gonna go fast forward 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, Luffy has the idea to take over the Great Terminal for himself. With this idea, Ace and Sabo can agree to this because they're all insanely strong. And Ace and Sabo have their own martial arts. Well, not own martial arts, they have martial arts that they practice specifically. So the martial art that Ace uses is Silat. Martial art that Sabo uses is Kali. Silat, to remember, is striking at joints, using weapons or your bare hand, and then exploiting weaknesses, and all around being a black Air Force or pure violence. Then Sabo's Kali, which is just sticks, knives, blades, and knife hand / chopping. So that's Sabo's martial art, and then Ace's Slot. Or Silent. I don't know what you'd say about that. Pause real quick. So Ace and Sabo like the idea of conquering the Great Terminal. And with that, Luffy would decide to declare war on Blue Jam. Now, there's also a select few people in the Great Terminal who hate Ace and Luffy and Sabo. So, the Blue Jam screws are able to get a few members once everyone hears about the war. People side with Ace and Sabo, but they don't fight because Ace and Sabo and Luffy are their own one-man army. So the war would actually start next week, and the moment it starts, Luffy specifically goes after a Blue Jam, while Ace and Sabo would head after Port Chemi. Ace using his Salat, actually be able to take down Port Chemi pretty easily, as he's able to spin his pipe insanely fast and use enough force to hit Port Chemi right in the temple, and actually kills him. Ace didn't really care because Port Chemi would try to kill him on multiple occasions. Well, we're going to go to Blue Jam with Luffy. Blue Jam is being completely abused, as Luffy's broken the majority of his ribs and both arms in a matter of 5 minutes. Now, the last attack that Luffy would do is just a basic karate kick to Blue Jam's neck, or basically just, you know how Mikey does that, basically the signature roundhouse kick. I'm going to call that a karate kick now. Luffy does that signature roundhouse kick and kicks Blue Jam right in the neck as hard as he can, breaking it and killing him. When Luffy lands on the ground, he laughs at Blue Jam as Blue Jam just falls over, dead. Now Sabo proceeds to beat down the rest of Blue Jam's crew, or most of his crew actually, now leaving like a good 20% left for Luffy and Ace. Luffy and Ace beat down the rest of them pretty easily, and they win. Yes, a few deaths were caused, including Blue Jam, Port Chemi, and a few other miscellaneous pirates caused by Sabo. The day they've all killed at least one person. They didn't really care, because those guys tried to kill them more. But the main difference is basically being Blue Jam, the whole crew go to kill Ace and Luffy and Sabo multiple times. While Ace, Luffy, and Sabo try once and they succeed. That's the difference. And all they did was declare a war and eat food for a week. Blue Jam's crew spent time gathering numbers, strength, guns, knives. So, yeah. But now, Great Terminal is now in the hands of Ace, Luffy, and Sabo, and they've been organizing it in No Better Town by using materials that they get from cutting down trees, and from just material that can be used to build. With this, Great Terminal now looks like a small town, and the trash is cleaned up, every valuable is scooped out, and they're able to be sold in Gold Kingdom for a decent price of money, and they're able to buy materials, and now the kingdoms are built up to be, not the kingdom, I mean, the small town is now built up to be, well, it's just like a lot of different, like, decent-sized shacks. So, yeah. Nagari even takes up one of these shacks, but he doesn't really go in it. He keeps some valuables there. Only law that you have in this town is that you cannot steal, murder, or assault. Like the 3 laws. And any form of assault is not allowed. So yeah. Now with this, Great Terminal is pretty organized, and eventually when you fast forward a few months, the Social Dragon still came, as you did approve of Great Terminal, forgetting, kind of thought it was a heap of trash at first, till he saw the small little, shacks. With this, he made the king taking those people as if they start littering, make the island look like a huge piece of trash. The king had to expand a bit of Gold Kingdom, and get proper housing for these people. So yeah. Now Nagari still preferred to stay outside, And with this, he was able to take a lot of the houses apart, like a lot of shacks, and add onto a ship. Luffy had to want to check in on what Nagari was doing to the house's pieces. As he looked, he was actually pretty impressed, as Nagari built a ship to be insanely huge. Now, Luffy would bring Ace and Sabo to watch a few times. Nagari had known they were watching because he came forced to attack once, and Luffy with a swift punch to the neck had almost divorced its head from its body. But Luffy held back a lot, so his head didn't come flying off. But it was obvious Luffy had killed it. And you can call Luffy Saitama if you want, because this is kind of what it is. Because Blue Jam, Luffy was legit holding back by just using just a few brief, fast hits, not like just, he forced just really fast hits, that's really it. So Blue Jam's bones are just breaking on impact with the sheer speed. But now Nagari had actually caught up, back to Nagari, I don't know, I skipped straight over that. Back to Nagari. Nagari would actually ask Ace, Luffy, and Sabo to help him build the ship. And Luffy would ask the question first, saying that, well, first he says that, first would ask if Nagari was a pirate, because it's a pirate ship. Nagari confirmed he used to be a pirate, and Luffy actually asked what position he was in the crew. And I assume that Nagari may have been he was the captain, I assume, and one of the main combatants. But Nagari could also build a ship and maintain it, so he was a shipwright, I'd assume as well. So Nagari would say that, and Luffy would ask if he can navigate decently. Now Nagari would nod, and Luffy then says that they want to dismantle the ship and build it up to be a cool ship, as the ship looks pretty boring and plain. Plus, it's going to just look like a giant normal ship, kind of like just a merchant ship with all the normal designs. Nagari sees the point, and Luffy actually asks to redesign it once they dismantle it. Nagari agrees, gives Luffy all the knowledge he has from shipwriting, as Luffy insisted on it, and yeah. Now Luffy begins dismantling his ship. By the time he fully dismantles it, it is a pretty decent-sized ship. It's pretty good. Now with this, Luffy had fully dismantled the ship. Ace and Sabo did help a little bit, now Nagari as well. And now it's time to rebuild it in open water with all the materials. As they begin rebuilding it, they got some knowledge from shipwrights and Go Kingdom. And some shipwrights even pitched in to give them a few tips and everything. Some tips that even Nagari didn't know but found useful. Some were useless, some were useful. Some were even I didn't know that was even a thing in history. But after around 3 months, the ship is built to the perfection. Nagari had liked it, Ace and Sabo and Luffy had liked it. It's a mixture childish, mature, and badass. The flag, because Luffy did a lot of the work, the heavy lifting, and getting all the knowledge and doing it properly, they insisted that Luffy get the Jolly Roger. Jolly Roger was just a basic straw hat. That's really what it was, just the straw Jolly Roger. So yeah. And Luffy is aware, Garp said that when Luffy was little, he had broke a few bones pretty badly, and they had to replace it with steel parts. That includes some bones in Luffy's face. What Garp said basically was Luffy fell off a cliff, and that happened. That was his way of making up why Luffy had a really hard body. But that Luffy just made half of the skull a little more metallic. He painted it gray instead of it being white. And I don't know if one or two bolts, just to add on those metallic. And he told this to Ace, Sabo, and Nagari, even though that Nagari could tell it was probably just Garp lying to Luffy, or hiding a lot of the truth. But yeah, now with this, Ace, Sabo, Luffy, and Nagari were proud of the ship, and Luffy then actually would ask what they should name it. Ace would suggest Striker, or Luffy would kind of just suggest. Would suggest the Sunny. Actually, no. What would Luffy suggest? Luffy suggests Red Force, just Red Force. That's what he suggests. And then, Sabo kind of just suggests the Galley. So yeah. Eventually, Luffy. Pause real quick. Sorry. All right. So. Luffy suggests Red Force, Sabo suggests the Galley, and Ace suggests Striker. Now, they all have to come up with a name together, and Luffy would get a brief flashback to what Roger's life was like, because Luffy will be having flashbacks to the dead pirates. One of the flashbacks he gets is from Roger, and he kind of just thinks of it as a vision, and he heard the name Oro Jackson. They laughed, saying, "Found a name, Oro Jackson." And Nagari immediately froze hearing the name, as he asked Luffy where he thought of it. Luffy just said, no, it popped up in his head. Ace and Sabo kind of like it, say it has a ring to it, so Oro Jackson. Nagari agrees, and for a second he sees Luffy with a straw hat covered in sweat, and his slightly muscular body, slightly muscular body, and he would see Roger instead of Luffy. He would shake his head, saying Luffy again. Luffy being 13 is pretty big, but still around the same size as Nagari, actually. Wait, how tall is Nagari? We're gonna find how tall Nagari was, but one site said he was like 4'5", which is accurate. It's inaccurate because it's from another character, but so then again, it's still 4'5". But I'll give Nagari the height of, let's say, like 5 foot. So let's say 5'5". Luffy being 13, they're actually pretty big, no matter what, because everyone he has in his DNA is insanely huge. Like, I think there's one person here who's under 6'4". So yeah, this one Nagari looks like for perspective on what he look like. So yeah, now I'm back to Luffy. So Luffy basically just settled in Oro Jackson, and they spend the next 2 years. As Luffy took off Jolly Roger, and he had made Nagari one. It's really just like a Jolly Roger with Nagari's hat with white hair coming down. And the also had wrinkles. I say it had cracks. You can find that it was old. But yeah, now eventually the ASL trio began building their own ship, and as they finished building their own ships, they built their own design, and they built it by themselves, with no help. By the time they had fully built their ships, it's been 1 year. Luffy's now 14, Ace and Sabo are 11. But yeah, the ships are built. And when the ships are built, Luffy had basically thought his ship was perfect. Wait, let me think of something real quick. I'm going to do some math in my head. I don't want to pause again. Alright, so done with my math. But yeah, now in this one, when Luffy's 14 currently, so that would make Zoro. How old would he be? That makes Zoro 10. I'm done. But yeah. Now, eventually, when Luffy's 14, wants to take his well, he's 14. But when Luffy fully built his ship, he wants to take it out for a spin, and he sails away. When he sails away, he had basically sailed around the East Blue, making his first stop, Shimosuke Village. When he stops there, he's met at the dock by 2 kids, as these 2 kids will be holding out blades towards Luffy. These 2 kids being named Kuina and Zoro. I was trying to match Kuina's age with Zoro's, but yeah. So let's say Kuina is 1 year older than Zoro. So Kuina and Zoro meet Luffy with swords to a ship, saying, "Get out of here, pirate!" Because Luffy's flag was a Jolly Roger. But Luffy just kind of hopped off of the boat, walked away from them, and he jumped at him to slash him. But suddenly, they realize that he's missing. And they look down, seeing him bending backwards. It then says that they were too slow, and suddenly they both feel really fast blows to their gut, passing out. He stands up straight, dragging Kuina and Zoro to the dojo. Well, you saw like Ishin Dojo on their gi, so you put them up there. And Koshiro, when he thinks it's going to be a fight, asks Luffy what he did to them. Luffy explained that they attacked him, so he punched them in the gut. So Koshiro wouldn't believe this, not thinking of them as the ones who attacked first, so he jumped at Luffy with the fastest slash of his life, only to have it shot midair by something that he didn't see. As he looks, he sees that his blade was stopped by Luffy's mouth. Luffy bit down on the blade as hard as he can. Not as hard as he can, actually. He just bit down on the blade and held it in place. And by the time Koshiro lets his guard down for a sec, just being confused, Luffy headbutted him into the ground. But he put down Kuina and Zoro, looked at Koshiro, asking if he wanted to fight. Koshiro again stands up, ready for a fight, as he tries to attack Luffy again, but Luffy's just taking all the dodging or taking all the attacks to his face, quite literally. Eventually, Luffy wants to train under Koshiro, thinking of swordsmanship as just really fun moves that they use to stab people. It's kind of what he thought of it as. Koshiro agreed to this and hoped Luffy saw more value in swordsmanship, which he didn't, but Luffy was naturally good with the sword. Yeah, so 1 year later, Luffy would head back to the Great Terminal, but in this one, Kuina does not die. Instead of actually just being told that she can't be the greatest swordswoman in the world because she's a woman, Kuina's responsible as she challenges her dad to a match. Her dad agrees, thinking that he'd beat his daughter pretty easily, but Kuina will actually outmatch him pretty quickly, and for the first time, Koshiro's version of sexism would drop for a bit, seeing Kuina as one of the strongest swordsmen he's ever met, which he was a little confused by because she's a woman. But now, Kuina had said, Well, now if you're beat by a girl, you'll never be the strongest person in the world because you're an idiot. He just froze, put his head down in shame, and went to bed in that shameful position. Kuina went to bed happy. Now, next day, Luffy says goodbye to his friends, and he sails away, as he was there for a whole year. So he comes back to the island when he's 15, and he notices that, Ace and Sabo are noticeably a lot bigger. As he's 15, they are around 13. Yeah, they're around 13 years old. No, they're around 12 years old. To pause one more time, sorry. So yeah, now when he comes back, Luffy will talk to Ace and Sabo for a bit, as he does say he does plan on sailing around the world for a little bit more, just to see what he has to offer. Whereas promise, he won't explore the Grand Line, but he will say that he'll travel to other blues as much as he can. And when Ace hears that, he actually asks Luffy to make sure he gives Ace some, Luffy maps out the South Blue at least for him. Luffy agrees to this, and he sails away. Well, after a month of his hang out with his two brothers and his master and his family, the bandits. Actually, he got a little more fit because Luffy forced them to work out with him. And his workout consisted of running 100 kilometers a day. 100 kilometers. Now, 10 kilometers is already around 6 miles, I believe. So, he's in the same standard. I think 100 times 10. So, around 60 miles a day. And between 60 and 80 miles a day is how much Luffy ran. Ace and Sabo barely were able to keep up with Luffy's insane speed. In fact, no one can unless you're a rear admiral and above, or at least you have to be at least supernova, above supernovas, pre-time skip supernovas, or be above pre-time skip supernovas, or be above rear admirals. That is the scale you have to keep up with Luffy's insane speed at this point. That's how fast Luffy is. But yeah, so Luffy just was forcing the bandits into shape by running almost 100 miles a day, doing thousands of push-ups a day, thousands of sit-ups, thousands of punches, thousands of kicks. The way Luffy trains his body, first off, he gets muscle mass. His bones are just don't get any stronger because they can't get any stronger than sea stone. But the way Luffy trains his body, he kind of lives by a saying that he read in a book. The saying was basically, "Don't fear the man who did don't fear the man who did 10,000 punches once. You fear the man who did one punch 10,000 times." Basically, that was just fear the man who perfected the move. That's what I assume it as. Just don't fear the man who did a certain move a number of times. Just fear the man or you messed it up. So, don't fear the man who did this number of punches at a certain time. Don't fear the man who did 10,000 punches once. Fear the man who did one punch 10,000 times. So basically, don't fear the one who tried to imitate it. Fear the one who mastered it. Just that. And Luffy just lives by the 100,000 version of that. It's don't fear the man who did 100,000 punches once. Fear the man who did 100,000. Fear the man who did one punch 100,000 times. That's what Luffy does. Kicks, punches, headbutts, chest bumps, anything Luffy can do, he does it hundreds of thousands of times. But now when Luffy leaves says about Ace and Sabo, who decided to sail around on their own. And yeah, now when Luffy's at sail, first stop, Shimosuke Village, he grabs Kuina and Zoro, and then set sail again. So Luffy is 15. He's 15, so Zoro would be 11. Kuina would be 12. I'm either aging up Zoro or aging down Kuina, but I'm gonna say I'm aging down Kuina. But yeah, he sails away with those two, and as he sails away, the first stop he has is actually a little village called Kokoshi Village. Now, Nami's 1 year younger than Zoro, so at this point, Arlong would be a few months into his rule, and just to make Nami a little bit happier of a person, when Luffy arrives. He arrives around the day that Belmir would die. Notice that village. The only reason that Belmir didn't get shot is because some fishermen reported that pirates had docked. Arlong put his gun away and began walking down to see what was going on. So, as he went to see what was going on, he got to the dock, seeing every single fisherman that was there at first, has been flung all over the place, and is cut up. Kuina had her blade just in her sheath, as she says that first look at she has two swords. One sword is a wooden sword, the other one's a steel blade. It's a Wado. But Kuina mainly is about to give Zoro the Wado once the adventure's over because she plans on taking over the dojo and not using the Wado anymore. She plans on using a wooden sword because, well, she's too strong. But yeah. Now, eventually, when Arlong is kind of just not mazed, but he's fearful of what he sees, Luffy would ask if he's the captain. Arlong's response is to rush at Luffy as much fast as he can, and goes to punch him in the face. But the moment he realizes that Luffy is gone, he quickly realizes his arm is gone too. Then he looks up, seeing Luffy holding his fingertip, saying, Really, you're that weak that I can tear your arm off with my fingertips? At your fingertip? Arlong began panicking, until Zoro slashes his back, saying, you should really keep your eye on me. As Zoro at this point has not made three sword style up. He uses it once as a joke, and that's it. But so far he's perfected one sword style, so it's Kuina. Luffy's mastered one and two sword style pretty easily, like it was nothing. But he doesn't use a sword. Okay, so Zoro had slashed Arlong in the back as Arlong turned around to go get Zoro. Kuina had slashed Arlong's back again, making it X. Now, Arlong began being slashed apart by Kuina and Zoro as he was getting too distracted with one of them, not both of them. Eventually, he's killed, and he passes out. He's killed, and falls in the water, and instead passes out. But yeah, the rest of the fishermen run at Zoro and Kuina, which leads to them being beaten up by Luffy. Hachi's the only one that survives, as Luffy can tell he's a good guy, so he escapes. Bellamy got up after being beaten up by some fishermen, who had ran away, and when she goes to the dock to see what's going on, she sees the fishermen are all beaten up. Arlong's body is floating in the water, along with other fishermen, and the one that beat her up, being Karubi, was dead. Now, Nojiko will question if they're actually pirates. As Luffy explains, no, they're not. They have a piratey flag. So yeah, with that Bellamy and Luffy talk for a bit, as they're the more mature ones. Well, they talk, they get along pretty well, and Nami and Nojiko thank Luffy a lot. But I'm gonna end this part here with basically the 3-day party at Kokashi Village, because Bellamy was saved. If you get into this part, like, subscribe, comment for the part. Bye. Also, first, I want 30 likes. 30 likes in 10 hours. I'll give you guys that limit. What time is it? 6:40. So. Never mind. I'll not be awake at 4 a.m. I want 30 likes in, let's say, I want 30 likes in 7 hours. And say that. Because I'll almost definitely be awake at 1 a.m. So yeah, 1 or 2 a.m. Alright, bye.